And we're back.
We are. You're listening to Supersensory Psychics on the Hazy Radio Network.
And we have Grandpa.
Yes, sir. The old coyote itself.
He's a very, very cool grandpa.
He is indeed. I've just dropped the link into the chat room here for the YouTube of the last show we did.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a lady called Kelly missed the show, so she can catch up now.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Kelly, I love you. Thanks for tuning in. You know, ask me some challenging questions.
I think one of the questions earlier was from Kelly, wasn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
But I think she'd not changed her name at the time, so we didn't realise.
Ah, cool. Well, anyway, there was this Meredith that had been talking and saying how she'd been in her 20s and 30s and felt a lot more able to love everyone than she does now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a normal aspect of getting older, but the trick is to be able to be loving and still be respectful to yourself, you know, to allow that. See, because we've been taught that love is to be so giving that you're not to have a care for yourself. Well, that's another aspect of insanity, insane programming, I would call it. So
I have to laugh because that's something that I've been griping about a little bit recently, about some of the spiritual crap, if you want to say, that's out there. Some of the teachings are just awful.
Oh, yeah, and then the New Age has become a religion, and now if you've got this symptom, this is the cure, and that's it. They got a doctrine and covenants, they got, you know, elements and requirements, and if you're not, you know, flowing with liquidity, you must not be a spiritual being because you ain't got no money and stuff like that. I mean, you know, goodness gracious. But that's normal human tendencies. We tend to categorize and organize. That's part of the brainwashing, you know, that we've all undergone. It's part of like how our world is structured, you know. And we feel like we have to have structure, that something that's free-flowing and natural, it's almost alien and foreign to us. That's how removed from it we become because of all the structure we've built into this society. And this is what I'm saying all the way across, is challenge the structure and you'll see the natural. If you can let go of this crap that says I got to control everything and see that you are in control of everything, that your heart does indeed, then you can let go of structures like marriage and government and churches and stuff like that. You won't need them, man. Everything will flow naturally, you know. So anyway, getting back to Meredith's issue, you know, we can get closed up because, you know, people are rude. You got to be respectful to yourself enough. You can be loving to people. I love everybody. I love the low. I mean, and I hang out with them too, low and high and everything in between. But I don't. I'm a real giving person too. And as long as you ain't stepping on me, you know, shoot. What do I care? It's just stuff. You know, it goes. It comes and it goes. And I like to give. I feel like Santa Claus. I do, in some way. But at the same time, I'll stop people. I'll slap them upside the head. I'll get angry if I have to get him to stop. You know what I mean? I'm still a human being. I still, you know, I need some respect. I need my space. I need my place. I need to be who I am. You know what I mean? And I need people that live around me to respect that. And for me to be respectful to them. You know what I mean? Etc., etc. In other words, I have all the normal requirements, and yet I'm still loving. And when you realize that loving doesn't mean giving yourself up, it means loving yourself enough to allow yourself to only associate with beings that are complementary, and to get away from those that take you away from yourself. If they won't change, if they won't respect you, if they won't come back and show some love, well, guess what? They're not in love with you. They've got some kind of domination thing going on, or you're feeling some other kind of need. But it's a little less than the full respectful love you should be showing yourself. And if another person can show that kind of love to you, latch on to them, because that's probably it. That's a good place to be, you know. But understand, too, that you're not going to tumble off into the darkness and just be alone together. That you're going to be with your spirit family. You're going to reassociate with people on levels that you would right now consider impossible. Yet the incredible is happening in your life and my life right now. Just relax and let it be. In other words, don't let the challenges get in front of you. That challenge that Meredith mentioned, you know, as we tend to be more cloistered and shut off because we're so sensitive. That doesn't mean you can't be loving to everybody on earth. You know, just recognize that you do. And the way that I do that is just by seeing the interconnectedness, just by sensing it. Knowing that every person I meet, I know everything about the second I lay eyes on them. I don't tap in. I don't tap into it. I leave it alone because I don't feel like that's necessary at this time. But if I needed it, any element in any person's life that I need to help them with will come to me. You know, it just pops right up. We're all like that. You know, I'm just, you know, able to move ahead so that others can get there too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's all. So Meredith, don't worry about it. You do still love everybody, no matter what your own mind's telling you. There's just a different way of loving. That's the thing. That's the point we're getting to. This love that we're moving into, it's so entirely different than anything we've known of as love before, except for the most simple and basic, which is always pure. The mother between a loving child, you know, between you and your dog, say, or your cat or whatever, you know. Those kind of, that's a reality. You build on those simple kind of love, but you open. We go to new levels with this. As we become conscious, we expand into the possibilities that weren't previously there for us. So a more full aspect of expression, both as a couple and as a spirit family and as a larger group called humanity and as a larger group called a galaxy and a larger one called a universe. We can allow ourselves finally to let go the grief and experience the joy. And we open up to every element and aspect of that as we move into this process. I mean, it's incredible where we're going with this.
Yeah, one thing that does strike me is what Meredith's saying is that I think she feels more of what's going on energetically. There's a lot of anger out there, there's a lot of people purging as they're waking up, and she's picking up on that. And it's not that the love isn't there, it's just she's picking up on other things besides that.
Well, that stuff, you know, we've talked about that last week, but that stuff, we have to learn to let it go, to not take it personal. But when you see it, when it comes to you and it is personal, well, see that for what it is, and then it makes it easier to let it go, because you understand, you start to see beyond the personal aspect of it. It isn't particularly, even though somebody might be yelling at you and calling you some of the most vile things on earth because you crossed their shadow in the wrong way.
Yeah.
You have to back up from that place that wants to take personal responsibility for it, and instant guilt and all that kind of stuff, or instant anger and rebellion, either one. You want to back up and just see that person as in pain and trying to express their pain to someone else so they don't have to carry it anymore. And you know, sometimes I'll even look, I don't do this very often, but sometimes I'll even look them in the eye and say, you know, you really need to deal with that pain. Can I help you?
Yeah. I mean, there's not just the personal thing, person to person kind of anger. There's a whole kind of planetary anger of where we are at the moment, what's happening. And there's a lot of anger between people that are just waking up because it's like the reality is suddenly hitting them. And the first thing that happens is, okay, I've got that saying that comes to mind, that knowledge will set you free, but not before it's really peed you off. You know, and I think that's a lot of where we're at the moment, and this is where a lot of the anger is coming from. There's a lot of anger from the youngsters as well that are realising that this system just doesn't work.
No, and it never has, never will, man. And you know, we're amazing we've got as far with it as we have, you know. Purely amazing. But I see the time coming when it just completely reverses. I mean, and not very far away either. It's about happening now. It's like the egg, you know, the shell's cracked and there's something inside there and it's working its way out. You know what I mean? That's the stage I see the entire financial world in, if you want to call it that. Really, it's about humanity opening their heart. You know, being open to the heart. The very thing we're talking about, really. you know.
Oh, we have a question from Kelly.
Okay.
Says she feels we also have a soul contract with everyone and everything, even the starving ones and the Hitlers. What do we say about this?
Well, of course, that's everyone is playing a role. Everyone. And some of the most enlightened beings in the universe come to play some of the darkest roles because they're the only ones that have sufficient love to endure such a life, i.e. Hitler or somebody like Stalin or somebody like that, or even the people that are stepping into power now or think they are, these evil killers that just don't care about people or nations or anything but what they can gain out of it. It's almost total emptiness, almost total darkness. But if we stay loving even towards these beings, we'll understand how they more naturally fit now into the dynamic we call Earth, and things will begin flowing a whole lot smoother. Than I see the time coming. And this is not, I think in the next few months, maybe even a week or two, I don't know. I don't know if it's quite that quick, but I see the time coming where people in the physical reality will literally be set free of all restrictions that they've adapted here for themselves. If your career is not fulfilling, you'll be allowed to make a change into something that is what you want to do, that does fit you. And the whole world will rearrange itself, and magically it's all still going to work like clockwork, better than it ever has before, because the economy will go out of it. There won't be a need to work and earn a living. There'll be a need to serve your fellow human in the way that you best can at the time that you're at, where you're at, and given what you've got to work with. So I see that very fundamental change worldwide in the next 2 or 3 months, maybe 4. It's hard to say, time's so flexible. But when I was doing my predictions video for YouTube, I was seeing this kind of thing coming into being, that there are going to be some transitions that allow this, that we'll finally get to this place where we're free as human beings to live as naturally as we can possibly be. And of course that's going to take some more fundamental changes in the structure, but that's why I'm encouraging people to challenge the structure, because in order to change, it has to be let go of. It has to lose its validity. That's why there's so much anger and pain, because the lives that people have been living aren't sufficient any longer, and no longer serve them, and no longer will work. Puppy dog, baby.
Got plenty to say.
Okay, we have a question. I don't know if Pup wants to answer that one. This one is from, I think it's Kelly again, isn't it? Let me just scroll back up. Or is this one Karen? Okay, Karen says, why are we seeing more interesting sights from the cosmos? Interesting colours and stars, etc.
Well, there's been an expansion and an increase in the energy directed towards Earth. Obviously, there's great interest in what's going on here, and we're getting, the veils are thinning basically. So these critters that we consider fourth and fifth dimensional people are becoming more visible to us too. It's kind of a combination of factors. Plus, they're more willing to reveal themselves. But I got to tell you that a lot of the stuff that we hear about from Star Family through channels is total hogwash. A lot of it's cool. You just kind of got to be awake to see what's real. When they go on too long and carry on with many, many words, they're trying to circumvent the future in a way. They're not going to be able to. You got to understand that in this matrix, and they're part of it, there are those that still aren't too friendly to us, even though they appear to be. But no worries. I just want people to be conscious that a lot of what's been told to them, and some of the great nations that they've been aspiring to be with and stuff out there, aren't necessarily real. I mean, there's a lot of BS being spread about right now about Star Family and so forth. How can you tell? Well, the way you tell is by what you feel inside yourself when you see these things. If it brings you an immediate feeling of peace and connection, well, that's family. If it does anything else, it's something else. So pay attention to your feelings, your heart conscious.
That's what I always say. When you read something or you feel something, watch your body language.
Yeah.
You know, where does it hit you? Is it in the stomach? Is it in the heart, the head?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good way of trusting your intuition, really.
Yeah. Let me put your doggy outside again. Poor thing. Baby, baby, come here. You can't do that. Come on. Come on. Come on, baby. Come here. Put your Jackie on. Come on. Go out there and play a little bit. Yeah, go on. You got your Jackie on. You get out there and keep me fight. Okay. Come on. Yeah.
I'm just looking at Kelly's question here.
There. Little rascal. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right, not to worry, these things happen. We're just looking in the chat room again, see if we've missed any questions. Kelly is making a comment, I think it's based on the question from Karen, saying that maybe we are being shown our shadow sides. Yeah, I think that's based on the question of why are we actually seeing more.
Well, we see that too, you know. I mean, that's what I've been saying all along. You know, you first see the darkness, you first see what's been hidden from you, and then you see the facade even behind that. You know, it goes in level, and the trick is not to be too shocked by what you're seeing. You know, it's a really different place to be. You know, just beyond our consciousness right now. But anyway, don't be too shocked by what you see in the ways of darkness, by what's been going on here, and by especially when you start to see how badly the people have been hoodwinked and brainwashed. You know, I mean, anger is a natural response there, but at the same time, if you're looking at it from the heart's point of view, you're going to understand even the reasonableness in that, so you're able to let go of the sting and not have to be all peeled about it.
Okay, what Kelly actually meant was the comment on when we said about Hitler and people that do despicable things. Basically, yeah, that is the shadow side, the more darker side of who we are as humans. One of the things that me and Rob have said quite often is that we all incarnate and experience different aspects of the personality, and at some point we've all murdered, we've all stolen, committed things that we shouldn't have done,
and been murdered, and been stolen from.
And just because we are who we are in this lifetime doesn't mean this is who we've always been.
We have to experience everything experienceable.
Yeah, well, if you can just understand your lives from that aspect, then you understand all of them are experience. And that's the way they should be taken. No matter who or what you might have been in one of those lives before this one, what you are right now is what you are right now. Those are only elements of what you've been. This person being right now, that's the one that's meant to have the fullness. So don't get all hung up on those past lives that might have been a little glamorous.
No, it's not kind of about being hung up really. It's just acknowledging that we all are capable of those things as humans.
Oh, greatness beyond words. I mean, the smallest of humans can create the greatest of worlds. I mean, you know, it's amazing what we're really all about. Poor babies. I don't know what to do with that poor little doggy, man. He can't be quiet in here, and he's not happy out there. I don't know what to do with him.
I think he's probably getting excited with all the energy.
Yeah, well, he is an energy hog, and like I said, I've only had him for a couple months, so he's just still learning about all this stuff, you know.
Oh, okay.
My last dog, Angel, man, now she was with me for like eight years, you know, and she and I understood one another pretty well. She was a lot easier to manage. He's getting there. He can't help it. He's an excitable little guy. Yeah, I can't, I just can't live without good dog energy in my life. I just don't do well without them.
Mm-hmm.
It was a couple of months after my angel died, and she died rather suddenly. I think I was closer to her than any dog I'd ever had. Maybe even closer than most people, but anyway, boy, until she went kind of quick, that was a shock. So I wasn't going to get any dogs for a while, but boy, oh boy, this little guy just called to me and I came. Had to happen, you know what I mean? Needed to have a dog back in my life. Now a dog.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yep. Oh, I tell you, dog energy will help you with earth grounding, especially if you're a male. Females seem to do better with cats. Doesn't really matter, but whatever you're normally inclined to, don't neglect your connections with your animals. And just like each other, treat them respectfully and well as best you can, And if you make a human error, don't be too big to apologize to your animals and love them up and help them feel better. You know what I mean?
How does that work with chickens?
It works well. By coincidence, I was communicating with a chicken just recently that passed on that it had been part of the pleasures of my life. You don't know who's in your animals. This is why I'm saying you want to really. This chicken had a very elegant soul. Like an ascended being inside of this little chicken laying eggs. I mean, you wouldn't believe it, but there it is. I was talking to it this morning. You might think I'm nuts. Just wait till you start meeting your own chickens.
No. We've had chickens, and one of them was one of the sweetest souls I've ever encountered, ever. And her daughter is, how are we going to describe Dixie? Slightly boisterous, I'll say.
Very boisterous. She rules a roost, if you like.
Yeah.
She stomps around the place and
the garden just ain't big enough.
Pecks everybody. And, yeah.
That's mine. If she was a dog, she'd be going around cocking her leg against everything. Yeah.
Yeah. She likes to assert her authority, doesn't she?
Yeah. But it's interesting, since she's the only one left now, when I go out for a smoke in the garage and open the window, she comes and sits under the window and has a little chat with me, and I have a chat with her, even if it is raining. It's this weird thing about that chicken. It can be absolutely teeming down with rain out there, and she won't even notice.
Some of them are like that. My chickens used to stay outside in the snow till it got really blowing and cold, but they'd stay out in it for an hour or so before they'd go hole up in the roost.
Yeah.
Same way. They're amazingly ruddy little animals. They got some grit.
Yeah. They're I don't know. I've never seen them as a pet before, but when Raven and I got together, they were a family of chickens as well. And I've never even had a budgie, and these things I just for some reason hadn't equated that they would have their own characters.
Every animal does.
Yeah. I've been woken up to that one certainly with a bump.
Yeah.
But, cool.
Okay, so we're at the bottom of the hour again, so we have to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for the last 30 minutes of the show.
Yep, indeed.
Rockin' A.
Okie dokie.